Welcome to the Information Technology, Policy and Audit class at University of Wisconsin-Stout, course number ICT 401 and 601. I'm Ray Villar, your instructor for this course. Okay, let's start with a quick preview of what we'll be covering in this introductory video. Our agenda will be as follows. First, you'll meet your instructor, yours truly. Then we'll discuss the high expectations we have for this course. Next, as everyone in this class will be online distance students, we'll discuss the myths and reality of online courses, just to make sure that you have the right mindset for this course. Now, directly related to one of those realities is the importance and challenge of consistent and adequate communication between your teammates, your classmates, and myself. After that, we'll review the flow of this course. Now, this course was developed by Dr. Evans Vayam, with whom many of you have already studied. And those of you who have previously taken an Evan class will recognize our use of modules and his big yellow box. In fact, you'll also recognize Evan's voice, as we'll be using many videos he recorded for this course. Then we'll re-examine the process we'll be using for our discussion assignments. And finally, we'll quickly discuss the computer and internet requirements for this class before concluding with a quick review. So now a little about me. Per the visual, my name is Reynaldo Villar, but please call me Ray, though that is with an E. I'm an associate lecturer in the College of Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics, and Management here at UW-Stout. Like you, I used to be an online distance student, having completed my Master's of Science in ICT, or Information and Communication Technology, here at UW-Stout. I actually live on the other side of the state, outside of Racine, Wisconsin, just south of Milwaukee, for those of you not familiar with Wisconsin. When I'm not teaching, I currently work for a healthcare technology and solutions firm outside of Chicago, where I am the Director of Digital Marketing. In that role, I actually practice what I'll be teaching here, such as administering and developing CRM solutions on the Salesforce platform, one of the biggest CRMs out there right now, and a direct competitor to Dynamics CRM. I've worked in the digital marketing field for more than 15 years now, mostly with Chicago area tech startups, along with a few consulting gigs for firms nationwide. As you'll probably see in the course of this semester, I'm very passionate about all things digital, analytics, and tech. I'm originally from Chicago and spent most of my life there, but I must admit that I've fallen in love with Wisconsin ever since moving up here 6 years ago, after my wife and I were married. But I still can't shake the fact that I'm a lifelong Cubs and Bears fan, which means football season is usually the worst time of the year for me. As for my teaching style, I do enjoy teaching and sharing my knowledge and expertise, especially in the CRM and digital space. Most people will describe me as laid back, but I also do try to be proactive. So don't be disturbed when you get emails from me checking in on your personal progress. I'm also very excited about this subject because I've seen firsthand how crucial CRMs or customer relationship management tools have become in today's business environment. CRMs are no longer just sales or marketing tools, nor are they just about managing relationships with customers. Because of the data they now gather and or integrate, CRMs have become important tools in the big data movement. Now, I personally believe that what you learn in this course, if you really put in the time to learn it, will give you a leg up in your career, whether you're in IT, operations, or marketing, or whether you will be using Dynamics CRM or Salesforce or some other CRM in the future. If you want to learn more about me, please feel free to check out my LinkedIn profile. The URL is on the syllabus, or you can just search for Reynaldo Villar in LinkedIn. And if any of you are interested, I invite you to connect with me. I believe that LinkedIn is the best thing to happen for workers and professionals ever. It is the most powerful networking tool out there, in my opinion. It is also the great equalizer for workers, especially professionals like yourself. I was recruited to my current full-time positions through LinkedIn. Many people I know are finding their job opportunities through LinkedIn. Many recruiters are looking for people through LinkedIn. It's actually their primary recruitment tool. And like many other companies, my employer spends thousands each month recruiting through LinkedIn. Also, as a digital marketer, I've found that targeted advertising on LinkedIn is one of the most effective advertising and marketing channels, especially for B2B. Because I can target people by who they work for and what they do and create messaging just for them. So if you're not fully utilizing LinkedIn yet for your professional career, get on it. Some of you may be wondering what the expectations are for this course. Well, in a word, it's high. Why is that? As a dedicated lifelong learner, I've come to believe that learning does require a lot of stretching and a little bit of stress. We grow by facing and overcoming challenges at each stage of our life. And fortunately, schools like UW Stout provide us with a controlled environment for a lot of these necessary growing pains and challenges. And of course, this is an Evan designed course, so yes, expectations are very high in this class. Now, I'm not saying that to scare you, and this is not to say that it'll be impossible to get A's in this class. In fact, I believe that most, if not all of you, can get A's, but it will require effort, energy, and commitment on your part. Now, the good news is that Evan has put together a great curriculum for us, and you have a lot of resources to help you succeed, including me. Now, I'm a big believer in online learning. In addition to completing my master's degree online, I'm also a voracious user of MOOCs, massively open online courses, such as Coursera.com, Udemy.com, and Lynda.com. And by the way, as UW students, I hope you all know that you have free access to Lynda.com, which is a valuable perk. I regularly download their videos to my smartphone and listen to them during my commute to work when I'm able to work out. And as an online learning fan, I've come to recognize several myths that can often present obstacles for online learners like you and me. So I'd like to discuss and debunk some of these myths right up front. The first of these myths is that online courses are easier. In some ways they can be for some people, but the reality is that online academic courses are actually more challenging because they require more responsibility, accountability, and self-motivation on your part. For starters, you won't have roommates or be surrounded by other students on the same schedule and workloads as you. In short, online courses requires more maturity and an understanding of the different environment you're in. The second myth is that online courses don't have regularly scheduled meeting times. And that's sometimes true, but in this class, you will be forming groups and scheduling regular meeting times for your team. In addition, you should plan to do something daily because it's too easy to let tasks, assignments, and responsibilities slide, especially with online courses. Procrastination can be more problematic for online students precisely because online courses can quickly become that out of sight and out of mind situation. So here's my recommendation. Sometime in the next couple of weeks, if not today, schedule at least 30 minutes each day in your calendar to get some classwork in through the rest of the semester. Whether it's reading a textbook, reviewing discussion posts, working on labs, or viewing videos, you may not always use the full 30 minutes, and sometimes you may need a lot more than 30 minutes. And quite frankly, sometimes you may need to skip it, but at least it's in your calendar giving you a reminder. And take it from someone who's completed his degree online while also holding down a full-time job like most of you, and also being a foster parent. This is good advice. And the third myth is that expectations are not high. But as mentioned in the preceding slide, and as you'll see in the syllabus and course schedule, the opposite is true, especially for this class. Now, you'll be learning a lot of theory, but then putting that into practice in the course of this semester. In addition to introducing you to the Microsoft Dynamics CRM, you'll also be learning processes, protocols, and controls that you'll see in the real world. And to top it off, you're the one responsible to your teammates, and you'll also have to hold each other responsible. Now, the fourth myth is that communication is easy with online courses. In fact, communication is challenging with online courses. Yeah, technology may have given us more ways to communicate, but as online students and instructors, we won't have those face-to-face visual clues we've come to rely on in real life. There's also an extra challenge in this class because a big part of the course involves you working with a team on a project, and teamwork requires strong communication skills. You will need to use Skype for Business, formerly called Microsoft Link, to plan and execute your project, as well as use the discussion boards and email as required. Plus, you need to communicate with me and I with you to ensure that you're getting the help you need to make the progress we all know you can. Finally, there's this myth that it isn't important to read, listen to, or review course material. Of course, the opposite is true. For starters, to successfully complete your team project, participate in online discussions, and also show your proficiency with the CRM, you need to invest the time in studying the course material. You can't just BS your way through your discussions or your team projects. That means avoiding the temptation to cram your course materials the night before the deadline or your scheduled meetings with your teammates. Again, procrastination is often the biggest enemy for many online students, but especially for this course. Now, as mentioned in the preceding slide, communication is key. You have several communication channels and learning resources at your disposal, but they're all worthless if you don't use them. So when you get stuck on a task or confused on an assignment, don't just throw up your hands and give up. Communicate with your classmates, your team members, and also me to find solutions and answers. One of the channels you'll utilize during the orientation and the first 3 modules is a discussion forum. This will also be valuable as you begin organizing yourselves into teams. I won't be assigning you into your groups. You must exercise personal initiative and your judgment, as well as use emails and discussion boards to create a team that can help you succeed. Now, the discussion forums will give you insight into your classmates, as well as showcase your strengths to others. The group projects will require a great deal of collaboration, and collaboration puts a premium on strong communication. As most of you already working in the real world know all too well, collaboration and communication go hand in hand in today's business environment. Emails are quite frankly the best way to get a hold of me. I reply to emails fairly quickly. Even when I'm really busy, I make it a point to try to respond to emails by the end of the day. And you should too, by the way. Now, if we need a more interactive and real-time channel, we can use email to schedule a time to meet and chat over Skype for Business. For real-time communication, speaking of which, Skype for Business will be our preferred tool. Again, it used to be called Microsoft Link, and you'll definitely want to use this for your team meetings. In addition, I ask that you please use the Skype for Business recording function to record your group project meetings and then post them to your team SharePoint directory. Note that you can join Skype for Business meetings via your smartphone, but functions are often limited for phone users. Also, someone normally has to be on a PC in order to use the Skype for Business recording function. Generally speaking, whatever works is the final answer here. If other channels like Messenger, Hangouts, SMS, etc. can do the job for you, that's okay. But again, it's your responsibility to make sure it's effective. Okay, now for some specifics on how this course is structured. As mentioned earlier, Evan has organized this course into modules. In general, each module is scheduled for 2 weeks in length. The only exception is this first orientation module. We'll have a total of 8 modules over the course of the semester, each of which will have these components. There will be a list of learning objectives, which will set the direction and goals for each module. There will also be readings and media, which will lay the foundational theory, processes, and protocols you'll need to learn per the module objectives. There will also be discussion tasks during the first 3 modules. Now, these discussion tasks are intended to help you deepen your understanding of the learning objectives by discussing what you've learned and sharing that with your classmates. as well as seeing what your classmates have learned. As mentioned earlier, this can also give you some insights as you organize your teams for the group projects. Speaking of which, the modules will have assignments and activities, and these activities will include both group activities that you'll work on with your small team, but you'll also have individual activities, which will primarily involve lab tasks, customizing, and configuring the Dynamics CRM platform. Finally, many of you will recognize the big yellow box that Evan incorporates in his courses. Now, you can also get to the module materials through the Content tab, but Evan's big yellow box provides a handy checklist right on the course's home page to access module materials, as well as see the schedule and due dates. This discussion process slide is probably just a review for most of you, but here we go. Your discussion posts and comments will be based on the assigned readings and media for that module. Now, these discussions do have a structure. So before you post your first discussion posting or comment, please review the discussion rules. As you compose your discussion posts, please don't just recite everything you read word for word, or worse, just copy and paste items from the text or media. The primary focus should be on what you learned and what did you find valuable. The secondary focus is sharing that with others. Now, most of you bring a lot of industry experience to this class. Share that experience in light of the discussion subject matter and your learnings from the module materials. And of course, please participate in the discussions themselves. Looking at the software, hardware, and networking requirements for this online course, it should go without saying, but we're going to say it anyway. You are responsible for ensuring that you have the equipment necessary to participate in this course. In addition, you have the responsibility for considering backups or having a plan B should your equipment break down during the semester. Of course, it all starts with a dependable computer. If your computer is on its last legs and is showing its age, consider getting a new one sooner rather than later. Keep in mind that a new computer will require at least a few hours of setup, personalization, download, and file transfer time, so do plan ahead. The software requirement is pretty basic and for the most part cloud-based. When it comes to communications, we'll be using the D2L discussion forum, your UW Stout email, and the Skype for Business platform. Now, if you haven't already, you will probably need to access your UW Stout Microsoft Office 365 portal to download the Skype for Business app into your desktop. Also, I find that I often need to be logged on into my UW Stout Online 365 account in order to Skype with my groups. Now, you can also use Skype via your smartphone, but again, the features and functionality is often limited when you use your phone. We'll also be using the Dynamics CRM system for our projects, which is also cloud-based. But don't worry, we'll be covering how to set up your Dynamics CRM account via your labs, your module labs. And because we are an online class using primarily cloud-based systems, you need to have a reliable internet connection. Dial-up internet, if you're one of the handful of people left in the world who use it, is just insufficient for this class. You need to make sure that from wherever you're participating in this course, you have reliable internet. I also recommend that you think of backups. For example, if your home access conks out, are there local Wi-Fi's you can access? I've actually had that happen to me a few years back. Luckily, I had a nearby Panera and a public library that I could use to complete my work. I also recommend investing in a microphone. Your laptop probably has one built in, but a headset and microphone will help improve the quality of your communication. And if you have difficulties now or run into problems in the future with your computer, software, and internet, don't delay. Get it fixed. The bottom line is that you are responsible and must take control of your computer and connectivity needs. UW Stout does have resources to help you, but you need to act ASAP. All right, so here's what we covered in this introduction. First, you learned a little bit about me. Then we established that we have a high expectation for all students. We then review the myths and realities of online learning, as well as tips for good communication. We then discuss the modular flow of this class, along with the discussion assignments and processes, and the software, hardware, and networking requirements you need to consider for this class. So that's it. Thank you for being part of this exciting class, and good luck.